Hello and welcome back to Space Engineers. My name is Rabenschild and today we are doing something completely different, something I normally don't do sometimes, but this is kind of different from what we normally do. I'm today in a test world, in creative, and we will start to build a modular framework for our streams. Because, as I explained in the last episode, Ramethab for the streams kind of said we could build stations on Mars and have two different stations there. He will build modular base parts, and I will build modular base parts and have them prepared, and then maybe have a ship that can drop them off once we reach Mars. And because stream's coming up, I don't have a lot of time. We will have to do this now, basically. So that's why I took a bit of a break from the ship build. And the ship build is also something that I want to just address for a bit. I'm still not completely sure how to go on with it. People said that it would be completely okay to go into a creative world and then just finish it there. Other people said it doesn't matter to us. So nobody was completely... I'm basically the only person that says, I don't want to do that. And that's okay. Most of the people said, we don't care. You put out the content, we will watch it. And that it would be good to use all the tools that are available. Someone tried to explain to me how creative works, and because there are so many more tools, and who gives something about rules. It's the rule I've set up for myself to kind of have still a challenge going on for the episodes. And so that's why I kind of was relatively adamant about saying I want to not go into survival and keep working on the ship there. By the way, I'm running now into problems where I kind of don't know why it is. Okay, now it is working the way I wanted it. So, the modular base build, as I understood it, kind of is a thing where we have modular systems to connect up the base parts themselves, and then have some structures going on there. So, for example, we need a command center and a part that is good for energy production, then a part that, so this stuff, manufacturing, and I want to have this as modular as possible. So I want to build a structure that lies beneath all my segments, that establishes a common ground for all the modules, so that I can connect them up, and then have walkways and connections in between all these things that are standardized, and I can just keep adding onto the base. And so the first thing I want to build is a kind of four-way intersection, that on top of this there will be the first module. So maybe the command center. So a place from where I can control the whole base. And the same thing then will be used to establish the manufacturing section, the whatsoever. And that's the first thing I want to build. That's why I'm in have set up this mirroring, the mirroring mode, where I can just build it out and then kind of don't have to worry about things missing, all the sides being the same. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. And I don't want to make it too big. I want to have the chance to have that welded together in orbit and then drop it down. And if I go far too big, then yeah, I end up with a crazy, crazy big mountain of material that we have to gather in space, and then just drop that in. But what I want to do is, I think now I have now this thing and this thing should be 21 blocks long. I think that should be enough to set something up top of it. So in the command section, I want to have, yeah, the bridge. It's not the central command part for it, and maybe a bit of a reactor, and maybe some cryo chambers, so that if you would end up in this thing, you had basically the basic means of survival ready. So no big refineries, nothing like that, but everything you would need to at least survive for the longest time in there, so that you could build up from this. So I thought about having 3 wide walkways, and then from this go out and have up top conveyor connections, and down here have merge blocks, so that we could merge everything together, and then yeah, all the sections then should, when they are aligned and snap together, should be again conveyed up and be integrated into the whole base system. So I have brought into this world, again, this is really a creative world, it's not the normal play world. I've brought in some of the basic mods that we have in the world. So now we have the built-in repair system, we have lamps, we have these big wind turbines. That's something I definitely want to use, because these could be good for power sections, and have, yeah, maybe 1 wind turbine up top, so that we can get a bit of power in. And for this section I will use the normal ones, but these will be the main way to generate power for the whole base. These produce, I think, 5 megawatts. They're really big. I will stack them up top each other. The only thing I will have to find is if there is a way for me to, yeah, drop that in. I maybe not in the end of this video, but maybe on Wednesday or something like that. I want to have also a ship that I can use to lift one of these sections. I will maybe try with the heaviest one, so, and then yeah, be able to enter the atmosphere, drop it off, fly back to orbit, and bring in the next section. We will have to see how that works out. Good. Let me continue to work on this. I wanted to grab a merge block, and then we need the conveyors. and I need the standard blocks. I'm not too worried about the interior right now, because if I would build something, design something like this, I wouldn't be too much worried about the interior. So what I want to establish is, okay, there's rooms, and the rooms don't have any interior. People can bring that in themselves. Maybe we add beds or something like that, but I don't want to put in desks right now. I don't want to put in too much of that stuff, because that is heavy. And if you want to transport that, maybe you do that extra kind of, or bring in the materials for that stuff. In my opinion, that would be the easiest way to save up on weight and all this stuff. So I want to have, in the end, a system that is able to be pressurized, and that here produces some means for oxygen, that it has this. I want to have maybe one O2 generator, maybe a few oxygen farms, a bit of power production, and again, maybe a survival kit. We will have to see. From a survival kit, you could start to build up everything else. So if you end up in just this section, it would have everything that you need, that you would need to start your survival on Mars, for example. And then we add sections later to that. So I would go for the blocks we might want to have. I will bring in maybe some round shapes. We will have to see. I will go with light armor for this whole thing right now, because again, I don't need anything else here. I don't want to prepare this thing for war. It is a means to be able to survive. Okay, the mirror mode works here. Let me bring that in. So these will be, in the end, the connections. And then I want to have a bit of a walkway, maybe up until here or so, maybe here, and then have this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then have, oh yeah, an airlock. I brought in the rotary airlock. We have that on the server too. I personally like that a lot more than to maybe use these passage airlocks. Remethep uses the passage airlocks a lot. I personally like these ones a bit more. We could go for an octagonal shape. Maybe that's a neat idea. And so we have a bit of room in the middle. This will be... I usually opt for 1 high, but I think we will go with 2 high here. And I will have to find a nice way to integrate that. Good. This will be sloped. I want to bring in just a few windows, nothing too special. Again, it's the basic framework for stuff like that. Maybe later in the sections, in the crew sections or something like that, we can then start to go really fancy. But for one, I'm not the guy for fancy. And then this maybe this, and now have maybe this, windows here, and the main thing in the middle should be the conveyor. Good. So okay, we will add a conveyor here and a conveyor here. I need to bring in some way to move up in the section, and what I would think is we go for let's let me go out. This will then connect up to the rest of the base. And what I want to go for in the middle is I need walkways up. But where will I place them? This is hard. this is really, really hard to do. Yeah, we might add some walkways, some catwalks. I'm not sure, and that's a thing. We will deal with mostly vanilla blocks because I'm not absolutely sure what mods we have on the server. So maybe if we go up and have the next floor here, we might have to put in some catwalks to cover up this part. Because I want the main way to distribute the conveyors through this thing to be in the middle. So we will basically have a middle column that will be the central conveyor column. And then this. Here, this part can be on the outside. I don't care for this, but I want to have this this part as modular as possible. So every module will have this part. Doesn't matter what module that is. Maybe some of the modules might have to deviate from that. So for example, if I want to have a specialized airlock, that's usually the colonies like that wouldn't come with just a built-in airlock here. They would have a specialized room or a specialized module that just works as the airlock, where astronauts could suit up and then have a way out onto the planet or onto whatever we are on. And that's another thing we have to kind of look out for, by the way, is we might have to bring that up on stilts a bit, because you can see that if you do something that is flat on the bottom, you might end up with very rough terrain, and so we have to deal with this too. But that's something I'm maybe able to build up later. So building structures below that, I will not be too worried about that. Maybe just build the thing high up as possible and then it works out. So the middle section will be something that's always there. Every section will have this part here down here. Everything else is built up upon this. Okay, good. Now let us go and close this off. Hope it's not too loud. I will have to bring down the volume on my speakers a bit. Usually I'm not wearing headphones when I normally record. Okay, this is the absolute groundwork of these things. I have to close that off here and here. I'm not sure how high I want to have the windows. Maybe this part can go already. So have this, then this. The outside part, maybe I can bring that a bit. Having this huge, nah, I think it's too high. We need to have that a lot flatter here. Bring that down. I was not sure how high I want to have the outside corridors, but having them 2 blocks high is maybe too crazy. Open this up, have the conveyors in here. This will be closed, and then we can do this. I think that's better. Good, let me do a break and then just build a bit, come back to you, show you what I've done here. Again, this process is always hard for me. I'm struggling with stuff like that. Good, let me come back in a few minutes. Okay, let us take a look at this. I have kind of finished the standard module for the station, and I also have finished a standard kind of walkway for the station. So these are the simplest modules you can get. They don't have any function right now. So the function will be added later on. And the cool thing now is that basically out of these modules I could build a base. And then you could just build up on it. But again, we want to transport each module down to the planet. And so I need to set up something like, again, the command center and production and storage and all this stuff. And for storage, I had an idea that I will definitely, yeah, I will go over that with you in a second. So you can see the inside is just a hollow module, because this thing can then be used for whatever. It's an empty space that can be filled with, I don't know, storage, a galley, whatever you want. So the modular part about this is that this thing is open to set up in it whatever you need. Laboratory space or whatsoever. You could even bring in walls, wall that in, whatever is in the middle, something like that. One thing each module will have is oxygen storage. I don't want to have a dedicated module for that. In case of emergencies, we don't have to think about this, but we think about this. It's the RP reason, kind of. We will have oxygen storage in each of these modules and battery storage in each of these modules, so that we don't have to set up something extra for battery storage, something extra for oxygen. We can just we don't have to bring stuff like this in. So, and also solars. There's a huge amount of space on the roof. We will use that for solars. Just these 4. It should be a good power addition to whatever else you set up. And again, I want to work with wind turbines. They work on Mars, and so I can just use these. Everything else is set up in a way where, again, we have the connections to the outside that come in, and we can use the merge blocks to merge whatever comes in next to it. I thought about adding something like also kind of So the idea that I had was I need a foundation for the whole thing. So there needs to be something below this. I cannot set that up before because the height level needs to be decided and all that stuff. And so what I will set up is a foundation that I can build afterwards. So I connect this thing up, and then I use a projector or something like that to just project a foundation, something that the whole thing rests on after I have built this whole thing up. With build and repair now, that should be an easy job. And even if you would just use the normal welders, it will have something that the whole module rests on, and then feet that go a few blocks into the ground, so that if there's height differences, I can just that automatically just gets balanced out, leveled out, something like that. Again, setting that up before is that doesn't really work in Space Engineers. So I will add the I'm searching for a word and I don't get it. The foundation again will be added later to the whole thing. So we have something similar here. This is just a walkway, straight, nothing to it. Some lights in it that will light up once it is connected to power. And one thing I forgot is to add the merge blocks. Again, standard merge blocks. It will be able to just merge onto each part of the station and will give us a room to walk to the next module. If we don't connect that directly up, that is also possible. So you could set up one module next to each other, but with these walkways you can extend the base and then place another module next to it. This thing is 21 by 21 blocks, and this thing is just 21 blocks long. But what I can do with these modules here, with standardized walkway modules, is I will use them as storage, because I can hook some containers up from the top, place them next to the window. We could even open that up if that is needed or something like that, but it really isn't. And have large cargo containers or tanks hang on this section, and then bring in a whole storage section. Most of the bases. Why should you have a pressurized area to put in large cargo containers? That's not needed. Materials can just stay in a cargo container on the outside of the station and can just be there. And with some standardized connections, like for example these and these things up top here, we can also add then maybe some guns on there, or we can add oxygen farms on there. So that's the thing with the modular building. We don't have to. Again, if I think about that with the modular building, it is just better to go with just having the. So what we would do, it's always better to just show what you are doing. So what we would do is have these things set up in a way where we can just have again the cargo containers brought to the outside of the whole thing, and maybe replace this thing with a conveyor junction. That would also be possible, and then just have cargo containers placed on the outside. And again, we cannot only use cargo containers, we could also use maybe tanks. So if we need hydrogen, we just, for example, use one tank here in the middle. It's also then easily swappable, so we don't have to think about if we see that, okay, we have just too much cargo but we need more tanks, we can just swap one or two of the cargo containers for then hydrogen storage, and that can even happen later. We have easy access to them. One thing I would like to do, and I think that's something we can definitely achieve, is maybe give it some structural integrity. Is that the right word? I hope that is the right word. So have, for example, some half blocks placed down here, and then some of these things, so that they don't just hover in midair. That is just so that I have the feeling that everything is structurally sound. That's what I wanted to say. And with this, we have a cargo section that we can build off of, and then just this makes our life so much easier in some regards. So this thing would have to hover a bit over the ground, but again, I want to have the whole structure anyways to be a bit on stilts, so that we can level out when the area just dips down or something like that. Maybe we could also have a section that would work as a stair in between, so that we can maybe, if we have built the whole thing on a hill and I want to just dip it down a bit, just a few blocks, I think that's one thing I will also do, that I can have a walkway where you could just go down a staircase and then you're in the next part of the base, and we can then continue from there. Again, the whole thing here will light up once there is power on it. The in-between sections, again, I will not put batteries in them, or again, the thing is with the conveyor junctions, we can just add some things later to it if that is needed. So should we, for example, go and the problem with server play is that you want to kind of not have conveyor junctions everywhere. Save up on conveyor junctions. It would be nice to have them here, so that again we have a place to mount weapons to it, we have a place to mount oxygen farms to it. So okay, I have placed another one of the standard modules over here. This one I want to turn off the mirroring mode, because here we will start to build the command center on, and for that I want to remove some parts. We don't need the solars, and on the inside I want to open up the roof a bit because I want to have a walkway up. And here I'm running into a problem that I need to take a look at, is if we have, for example, the catwalk mod. I think we have that. I will take a closer look to that, into that. So what I want to do here is have a walkway up into another room that is above the downstairs room there. And this will be the room with the what did I want to say, with the survival kit, and then maybe a bit of storage, and again the whole some cryo tubes, this stuff. And I need to find a good form for this. So let me build this up, maybe change the shape, although it's okay, we can work with that here. And we also need to open up the middle to reveal the conveyor connection. And then I think I will go up here on this side to have the way up to the command. So no, have this, also this. I could bring in, for example, I think that's what I will do. I will bring in the cryotubes in the middle so that 4 people can be stationed here and can go into a cryotube whenever they want. And on this area here, let us take a look. Cargo. Oh, not medium. Small. Oh, small. It's the small cargo container, just one small cargo container. Maybe here and here. They will be connected up to the system with with in this area, and we will have a survival kit on this side, and maybe a survival kit on this side. And in the middle, we will have the cryo tubes. Oh? Wanted to do that off camera, but so that's what I figured out we could do. And above that, we will have the command section. So let me go and put in a few more blocks, and then I will come back to you. So that should be everything, at least for the general structure. Again, there will not be any inside stuff. I will talk to Rabenschild about that, how he does that. But I personally, I would say everything on the interior. So desks and all that stuff will be added later. But you can see I've put in a rough staircase for now, because I will have to take a look if we have the mod, catwalks mod. If we have that, I will exchange this for some catwalks. They should look nicer, and I don't have another Rametheb incident where he thinks he needs to change my stuff because he can't take a look at it, because I don't know. So I will this will be the room for just this stuff here. We have some cryo chambers in here, and some rough storage, and a bit of production capability. So in general, we then could start from here on out. So we have the command center, or the space where we could establish a command center. That will be this area. Maybe there is space for a conference table or something like that. Why is there a block? I will have to investigate here. I'm not sure. We'll have to take a look from the outside. In a sec, we will have to do that anyways. Good. Then again, we have enough space here to add some consoles and stuff like that. And then we can just use this here to fly out. I think this is just a normal block, so and place that in here. I have up top a space for maybe one of the Ravenbolt guns or something like that. I wanted to have also established communications here, so laser antenna, then some wind turbines that just provide a bit of power so that we can survive here. And we have around the perimeter here some oxygen farms. They will have to be, they are around this area here, so that however the sun comes up and down, we at least get a bit of oxygen into the tanks. Again, this is just a really bare minimum thing that I want to have here, with a lot of room. But when it comes to survival, this is again bare minimum. That's why I also didn't include an O2 generator. I think for an O2 generator we will leave that to the manufacturing section. We can have O2 with the oxygen farms. The rest again is something that we might want to establish in a different way. We will have to see. You can leave comments on here if you think I should bring in an O2 generator, then I might do that. This is again not finished in any way. By the way, I think this will be I thought about a name for this. I think it will be the DUCC, and it will be the Direct Unit Control Center or Command Center. I'm not sure yet, but DUCC, that it will be that. Maybe some people know why DUCC, but it just take a look at it. I thought about something like that while building it. Again, up top we will add a merge block somewhere when it will be transported down, and then we can use a ship to just merge it to that, merge it to the ground, unmerge the ship, and fly away again. That's how I want this to be. The using connectors or something we saw that while working with some things, while we worked, for example, with the different parts of the ship, we saw that it is better to just merge the stuff to it and then use that to move the things instead of using connectors, because with the merge block, with a merged thing and then having one ship, it's easier to control the whole thing while you are bringing it down. And so that's what I want to do. The merge block doesn't have to have a position on here. It will be removed later anyway. Down here I might, yeah, again, you see that down here I might add some merge blocks or some merge blocks positions that will be always there. We will have to see how that works out in the end. But this is all for today, I would say. Hope you like this bit change of the format, going in, building this. I had a lot of fun building the DUCC and the cargo section. We can keep that too immediately. That's a good thing. Having that thing done already is also very, very nice. And again, we have the 2 standard sections here too. Will be pretty cool. The next thing we should establish is maybe for one, the airlock module. That will be a bit of a deviation from the standard form. And later, if we do something like a vehicle hangar or something like that, we also will have to go a bit away from the standard there. We will see how that works out. But manufacturing will be a thing then. Living quarters. I will build some things in between maybe, and we don't have to have everything ready on Thursday, I would say. I know that Ramethab has a lot prepared because he did that already in his build streams. But again, for me, it's a nice change of pace from what we usually do. Yeah, again, maybe on Wednesday we will do something else. If I have the time in between, I will work out a few more modules and we'll show that off. And then at one point we will have to blueprint all this, and then hopefully on Thursday, if we stream on Thursday, then we'll hopefully maybe bring down the first sections. We will have to see. That's one thing. I need to design the transport ship. That will be a thing we'll have to take a look at. Good people, I would say that's all for today. Hope you liked this episode. If you did, then please leave a like on the video. I hope to see you in the next one, I would say. Thank you for watching. See you later, guys.